Abduction, Chapter 34, Part 1. I woke from slumber, groggy, with my brain in a fog. Anything that happened to me started to materialize in my thoughts. Dark eyes of the abyss stared at me. I jumped. A gray alien was staring at me. My last memory before I fell asleep. My eyes began to focus as I stared out the car's windshield into the blackness of the night. My brain began to focus on my surroundings, and the nightmare faded. Lightly falling snow collected on the front of the car as the clouds started to move in. It was a beautiful sight to see against the backdrop of the soft city lights in the distance. The clear evening skies were fading, and so were the stars, the last image I had before we were lifted into the spaceship. I then realized the aliens had put us back in our car. They didn't get our seating correct, but how would they know that John had driven us out into the field? Now I was in the driver's seat, Valery was in the passenger seat, and John was sprawled out in the back. "What just happened?" asked Valery as he slowly came out of his alien-induced coma. "Do you remember anything?" I asked in a soft voice as not to alarm him. Valery grabbed the armset handle on the door as realization of what happened struck him. His eyes opened wide in shock. I didn't want to push him, but give him time to get his motions in check. "We were on a spaceship," exclaimed Valery. "I can't remember much beyond having those strange creatures with those huge soulless eyes and no mouths standing over me. Did he do anything to me?" I paused and thought about the consequences of telling Valery about what the aliens did to him. I had to think about his mental state and how he would respond to being told what the aliens did to him. I trusted Valery was strong enough to handle the news. "They opened you up and inspected parts of your body," I said, and continued before Valery could respond. "The aliens said they had corrected a past surgery on your knees. How did they feel?" Valery looked like I just shocked him with 1,000 volts of electricity. Instinctively, he placed his hands on his knees. "I don't feel anything," said Valery. "What do you mean?" "There's always been a little pain, but I feel nothing." I was worried that the aliens had damaged my friend, but those thoughts were postponed. Seeing Valery walk with his repaired knees might do more to allay my fears. It also gave me hope for John. He, however, was still quiet and not moving in the back seat. Since he drove to the observation field, the keys were still in his pocket. I would have to retrieve those so we could leave the area and search for Natasha. I had hoped the information about her whereabouts was not an illusion like the alien portraying her had. "Hope that's a good thing," I said. "Now let's get out of here and find Natasha." "You know where she is?" I shrugged before opening the car door. "I have an idea where to look." "How do you know this?" I got out of the car and opened the rear door. John stirred and slowly sat up. He blinked his eyes and seemed to be trying to orientate himself. "The aliens implanted vision in my head," I said, answering Valery's question. "They what?" said John while looking at me. He must have thought I lost my mind. I wasn't even sure how much he remembered about what happened on the alien spaceship. "We were on an alien spaceship," I said to John. "What the fuck? Really?" asked John. I pulled out my cell phone from my pocket to get the time. I noticed I had one missed call. "We were on this spaceship for 2 hours." "What happened?" asked John. I held my hand out and hoped for John would catch the hint that I wanted the car keys. As we were best friends, we would often be able to understand these subtle hints. John understood and reached into his pants pocket for the car keys. He promptly placed them into my hand. "We were all examined," I said, as I closed the rear passenger door and got into the driver's seat. "I saw Valery getting operated on, but was not awake when they opened you up." John leaned forward in the seat and placed his arms on the 2 front bucket seats. "Did they say what they did to me?" I nodded. "The alien I was speaking with said they removed a cancer from your body. He didn't say where it was removed from you or the size of the tumor, just that they did." "And how come you never told me you had cancer?" "I'm as stunned as you are," said John. "I didn't know until you just told me. I had been feeling a little more tired than usual before you, Liana, and I made our flight to Ukraine, but I never imagined I was sick." Valery nodded and tapped John on the arm in a friendly manner as if to say, "I'm with you." Any worries I had about the two of them getting along were gone. They had barely met, and there seemed to be a bond being formed. It may have been our shared UFO encounter that brought us into our brotherhood, but I would have liked to think that their friendship would have happened anyway. John lifted up his shirt and started searching for any visible marks that might look like surgery was performed on his body. He took out his cell phone and turned on a flashlight feature to help his search. This reminded me that I had one missed call, and I probably should see who it was that called. If it was Echo, I should call her back, mainly because she would want to know what happened to us.